who leads the way. Very tight, as you'd expect, among that lead group. Just a second covering the top 10 riders, and a faller towards the second half of the group as they make their way through. And that's always one of those perils of the early laps of Asia Talent Cup. Bad start to the weekend then for Kanta Hamada, who, as I said, on the grid, was one of the pre-season favourites for this championship. It's going to be a first non-scoring race of the season for him. Fifth in the series standings. He was also fifth position on the grid, but that's all going to be for nothing now as he goes down on the opening lap of 16. These are effectively full-length races, the kind of race distance that those of you familiar with the World SBK paddock will used to be seeing for Supersport 300 as Hamada stalks his way away from the incident. This time we get to see it, and it's exactly as I suggested, a bit of bumping and boring there in towards turn 10. Yeah, and it looks like he just might have gotten a bit of a punt from behind and helped into that exit, but for Hamada, it's not going to make too much difference. He knows he's down and out, and he's got 3 races left for this weekend, or 3 races left for the season to be able to bounce back. Yes, one by one though, each of these riders are going to be ruled out of championship contention because it's Furusato who looks as though he's well on his way towards the series lead. Our lead trio just jostling for position there, and it's Hongo, who was the race leader at the start of the previous sector, who's missed out there. I think missed the corner completely, frankly, just went to the outside line and got picked off. So Shiril, I think that was coming through, and Furusato's also up there now in the top position. Shiril then recovers your race lead. It's Furusato now on his case, and the big 2 from the last couple of races last time out in Qatar look like they're going to go nose to tail once again this time for the first ever race here in Indonesia. Yeah, we saw Carter Thompson running wide there as well, losing a couple of spots on the number 6 machine. Thompson, he's been mentored by Damien Coughlan as well back in Australia, and a rider that has been highly regarded in the Aussie circles for the last couple of years, but obviously COVID over the course of the last 2 years has meant that it's been a fairly curtailed start to his international career, but good to see him able to get out here in the Asia Talent Cup for a full season and learn from the experiences. You can see at the front of the field though, Shiril's done a good job in these opening couple of laps. He's kept his nose clean, kept out of trouble. From the start of this lap 3 has already been eroded, and Furusato already thinking about making a move, and he's going to go all the way around the outside here of the pole sitter Daniel Shiril to hit the front, and it's Furusato, the number 15, the 16-year-old, the unbeaten man from the 2021 Asia Talent Cup, who has got the lead. And if things were to stay as they are at present, it would be a 5-point gain for Furusato. He'd move to within touching distance of the championship, because of course after tomorrow morning's race there'll only be 50 points still up for grabs Saturday afternoon and Sunday. So 50 is about the mark. Trying to get down the inside. This is what's interesting in the final couple of corners. You can see there one of the other riders just running well right wide there. There is going to be a number of lines you can try and attack down into these last couple of corners. I think whenever we look at the Superbike races later in the week, it's going to be a real case of that could be one of the key block passing opportunities. The Asia Talent Cup bikes, obviously very different kettle of fish, but you're going to see a lot of moves made into that section of the track, just trying to force the move almost at the beat, and he's been able to do a really good job with that in these early stages. So your race leader pulling away out in front, or attempting to, and we've got Hurley and Dandy there who has gone down, and that looks like being in the second sector of lap number 4. Yeah, it looks like it's down at turn 7 just before you come to those fast right left sequence in the middle of the lap, but at the front of the field. And that's why Daniel Shiril is right on his tail once again. Mie, the fastest man around on lap 5, now ducks to the inside. He's going to pass 2 in 1 move for Sato. Really leading group over the course of this race. Anytime it looked like the leading 3 were stretching a little bit of a lead, he was able to close right up on them. As we can see here, Azrian Deo, who we noticed running wide earlier on from the lead group, so it's a separate fight this for 7th position, and we have lap 6, and it's Furusato has recovered the lead from Mie in 2nd position. Mie, though, we saw him not shy of passing his fellow Japanese youngster last time around, and he may well get the elbows out again to challenge down to overtake both Shiril and Furusato that time around. We'll see if he's close enough this time to try and take the lead. Dennis a little bit wide on the curves there, and Thompson and Hongo attempting to capitalise to make their way through. Less than 6/10 of a second now, covering your lead sextet as we make our way back down in towards turn 10. The action hotspot from a lap ago, still with Furusato, your lead rider. This is the fight further back down the field from 9th position down, and a couple of Indonesian riders. A minor fall. He was pushing on in qualifying a week ago, but did exceptionally well to take 9th position on the grid on his debut. And Ray Catford, who currently sits in 6th position. I think we're going to see what happened here.
Ryan, the number 21, just runs wide through those last couple of corners. You can see very high curves there on the entry to that corner as well, and then gets caught out just trying to get the gas a little bit too early, and that's what costs him his chance of being in that.
Daniel Sharil is able to do without that toe from Furusato, because if he gets in front of the two riders directly in his path here, he's going to have something like a second to cover to third position.
Yeah, still going to have a bit of ground to make up in that position, and that looks like well, another rider's gone down. It looks like it's down at turn 10, and we've seen a bit of action down there all the way through the running so far.
I think that's Timon who has gone down on lap 8 of 16, so the Thai rider who was on the fringes of the points, who was in that five-way battle, and we're going to see the incident perhaps here, and it's going to be two riders involved. That's a straightforward situation of Timon, who has gone down and collected Turaki Buapa, I think that is, who was alongside him, and he has now remounted to continue on in the race, but clearly out of contention when you're in a packed race like that one, and that group has now become a 6-rider group instead of the 8 or so who were all involved.
Yeah, it is starting to split up a little bit, and the reason for that is you've got to try and make those attacks, and you can see there for both of those riders on the run down into 10 for Buapa, he was at least able to
Cup. It's 6/10 of a second now, the gap to bridge for Daniel Sharil. A new personal best for Sharil last time around. He's just come across the line. That's Hongo who's gone down, coming off the final turn. So Hongo, who was one of the riders in the 4 riders.
The exit there at the last corner, but that's a shame for Hongo. But we've seen that obviously in that second part of the group, the riders have to push on because they're seeing it start to split out, and yeah, he just runs out onto the green paint, and there is that bit of a kick off the curb there for him. You can see there the
level of the curve certainly different to the level of the track and the asphalt surface around the curve. I was saying earlier on, Steve, when we were watching free practice in Superbikes, we saw Jonathan Ray at one point come down off a curve and get all unsettled by it. These curves do seem to be particularly high here in Indonesia. This is a new venue, and we're talking about smoothing out the circuit, but it's not smooth offline, that's for sure. We switch back to the battles further down the Golden Day. Well, they've switched at just the right time. Deo making a lunge down the inside. I think that might have been of Alitama, and both of them have gone down and into the gravel trap. And Deo looks, Alitama looks none too pleased with Deo there after that ambitious move down the inside. Another incident at turn 10.
Yeah, and for Alitama, that was out of 6th position, and on course for a really good performance here in his home round.
The leaders for Osato, 4/10 of a second up ahead of Sharil, who's got in front of Mie and made a 3/10 of a second advantage.
Yeah, you can see there Alitama there on the number 3 going down, and again, like you said, Alex, another move into turn 10. It's easy to be a little bit ambitious on the run into there, and just to have a
finishing position in 2021, and they've all been worth 25 championship points. Sharil then 2/10 further down, and we've got a fall, and is that Danish? Yes, it is. It's Danish who's gone down in his fight with Carter Thompson. Last time over the line, he was in front, I think, of Thompson in the battle for 4th place. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, keep an eye in the background, and you're going to see for Danish, he just tries to be a little bit aggressive through that last corner, trying to make sure he's able to